Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's open forum. We're going to get started right now. I want to present some things to you. I shared with you on your invitation to this that we would be having there were changes going on in the market, and that we would be. I sent you a link to an article from Florida Realtors, and this is what the article says. It is talking about February housing. Closed sales, new pending sales are up. The market is picking up a little bit. For the sixth straight month, closed sales rose for both single and family homes, up 4%, and townhomes up 8.5%. So I want you guys to let me know what you're seeing out there, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But I'm going to go through this, but please chime in with what you're seeing out there when we get done with this. The Florida housing market continued building momentum in February. The next paragraph is the market continues to stabilize. The guidance of local realtor backed by the market expertise and data Florida Realtors provides, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Closed sale of single family homes statewide last month totaled 18,000, up 4% from February of 2025. So year over year, it's up 4%, while existing townhomes up almost 9% from last year. So, we're starting to see that come back. Condos had further issues than just the market being slow or interest rates. With all of their new requirements and all that, there were a lot of special assessments, and people have been shying away completely from condos because they're scary, with all the special assessments looming out there and potential special assessments looming out there. Also, with all those assessments, people found themselves not in a position to pay those off and sell the unit. So it's been slow on the seller side and the buyer side. Lots of scared people, lots of risk. And I don't blame them. It's a scary prospect. Still a little bit, but they're coming out of that. They're loosening restrictions a little bit. They realized they went overboard on after the collapse of the one building down in Miami, that they'd gone overboard on particularly on the 3 to 5 story stuff that we mostly see here. So if you guys have any questions as we go along, let me know. Also, I'd love to hear what you're seeing in the market. New listings of single-family homes in February were significantly lower than they were in January, which is common for new listings to be lower in February than January. This is a bigger drop. If we compare last month's new listings to same month 1 year ago, they were down almost 10%. But by historical standards, February's new listings for single families were not low. Same for condos and townhouses. So what we're going to talk about today, I'm showing you this. So what we're going to talk about today is the change in the market. We went through a big seller's market. Then we went through somewhat of a buyer's market the last couple of years, because we haven't had as many buyers. So the ones who could buy and would buy had a little more choice, and they were a little more aggressive with negotiations as they could be. And so what we're going to talk about today is let me get this back up here on my end. And what we're going to talk about today is how we're dealing with that. The differences between what we're seeing in today's market versus what we were seeing a year ago versus what we were seeing 3 years ago or 4 years ago. So let's take a look at that. If you guys have any questions, what are you guys seeing in the market? Hit me up, put it in chat, raise your hand. Yes. John, share it with us. All right, you might be on mute. Oh, you're definitely on mute, but I don't know if you're trying to talk. All right, so I'm going to get into this. Let's get started with this. It is a balance.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I was just going to say, I've seen an increase in activity, but it seems to fluctuate with the mortgage rates fluctuating. However, the people that I've spoken to that are prospective listers and or buyers seem to have enough confidence that they want to go through with either one of those, and hopefully that will come to fruition soon. The biggest question I have, Ryan, is what is the effect of these large companies partnering with Zillow that I keep reading about?
what I don't know what the effect is going to be. I know what the idea is. Um, I don't know. They're trying to keep their own. They're just trying to sell their own listings. They're trying to buy their way into selling more listings themselves, as opposed
Yes.
to.
Will it affect our MLS at all?
No, no, it won't affect our MLS at all.
Okay.
No, they're going to have they're going to sign if they're going to do that preview. See, they still got to tell sellers about it. It's nothing different than what we can do now. You can absolutely do that now. You can have an MLS exclusion. So, but the one thing so they've got to talk to you. Let's say you're a seller. Let's say you go to a listing appointment and you tell your seller, I mean, I don't know how they're going to lie to sellers to get them to agree to this, but John, you're a seller and I am your potential listing agent. And I tell you, John, here at Keller Williams, we don't like to present your house to everybody right away. We like to keep it in-house for a while. And put it on Zillow, but not let other realtors sell it. What is it? It's not going to go out. So it's not going to go out on every other realtor's IDX, when they do their auto searches, all that kind of stuff. It's not going to go out and the person can see it on Zillow before they can see it. It's how do you talk your seller into, let me keep it in-house for a while before I do. Why? Why not put it to everybody? I'm going to get a better offer. The more people see it, the more likely I am to get a good offer. And so I don't get where they're getting on that. I know Tammy had a question on this last night. Tammy, what she emailed me. What I want to, I'll loop you into this as well. What do you guys think the big advantage is for that? And how do you think it'll affect the market?
Well, I'm wondering, how can they put it with Zillow? That's a form of advertising, isn't it? And if you're going to advertise, then it has to be active in the MLS.
Yes. So I don't know how that's going to come off. So I don't know the effect of this. I don't know what's going to happen with it. But yeah, if you sign an MLS exclusion, you're not allowed to put it on, to blast it. So I don't get how that's going to work. So,
yeah, I don't understand.
I'm just as lost. I'm just as lost in this as you guys are, because I just heard about it yesterday as well.
Yeah, from everything that I've read, my feeling it looks like to me a power play for Zillow to control the entire market, which is, I think, their goal from a couple of years ago to now, and obviously we hope that is not going to come to fruition.
Well, it's not going to, and it's just a way for them to make money. Keller Williams paid for this, but I'm not sure what they paid for. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know is the answer. I just heard about it yesterday as well. So I'm trying to figure out how they're going to do that. And yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is what Tammy said. How, they tell you you can keep it off MLS, but you can't be out there, promoting it, which I think that doesn't really make sense either. But the reason we have an MLS is to get it out there with everybody. That used to be the rule. You could promote it however you wanted to, and you didn't have to put it on MLS years ago. MLS was a tool. It was supposed to help you. And there was a day, guys, when people would say, oh my gosh, Tammy, you didn't have to be a member of the MLS. And so Tammy would go to a listing appointment and say, you could list it with Ryan, but he's not in the MLS. I am. I'm going to get it out there to all these other agents in this multiple listing service. This brilliant idea that someone had. And they would say, oh, wow, Tammy, that sounds a lot better than Ryan just, putting up a sign and, maybe running an ad in the local newspaper. Because, this is keeping it off MLS does not help your client. I don't know how you sell that to even one day. No, don't keep my house off the market for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. We're just, we're sitting
right. I think we're all in agreement with that.
So I don't know. So you asked the effect of it. I don't know the effect because it doesn't seem like an advantage to me at all. I don't know how they sell it to their customers. And so I'm willing to let that play out and see what happens.
Okay.
If I had to guess, I think it's nothing.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be appealing to customers, to listing sellers. Carolina.
I'm so sorry that I got in late, but I missed the whole part of this and I wanted to hear about it. So can you just say a little bit about what's happening, please?
Well, you
I'm
heard
sorry.
everything. You heard
I'm so
everything.
sorry.
No, you heard everything. We don't know anything. I don't know what the advantage of that is going to be. I don't know what that's going to spell for Keller Williams. I don't know what it's going to mean for Zillow. I can't imagine it's anything very exciting. Only thing they've agreed to is that Keller Williams can list their listings on Zillow before they put them on MLS. But I don't know how. I don't know. I think there's got to be lawsuits or something come out of it because we're not supposed to, advertise these things if they're not on MLS. We can get MLS exclusion, but then we're not supposed to, put it on Zillow. So I don't know. That's the bottom line, is that we're going to have to find out. Christina. Okay. So Jody, they tell well, I'll get into that. That's the first thing I thought of, but I will when I heard it, but I don't know. Christina.
Yeah, I just missed the very beginning. So is it that they're trying to do like what Compass is trying to do, some sort of exclusive, but somehow Zillow is involved, basically?
Zillow, yes, similar. Zillow will let them put it on Zillow, but I don't know how that. I don't know. So Jody says they sell it as telling their clients that we'll save you not having to pay a buyer's agent to put it on there. I guess that doesn't make them any more money. I don't know how it helps. I mean, I guess you could use that, but you're going to get fewer offers. You're going to get fewer people seeing it. You're going to get more money. The more people see it, the more money you get. And that's why we put it on MLS. That's why we put our cars on Auto Trader instead of just sticking it out at the end of the road, right? You're only going to get so many people that see it at the end of the road, but you're going to get lots more people on Auto Trader. So you're going to get more money for it. That's how it works. I don't know.
Can I real quick, can I just say, like, what is the current iteration of what we have for delaying things? I know before we used to have to, now we still want them to sign. I called MLS, they told me still have them sign a waiver. Let's say you take a listing and it's not going to go live for a month because they have to paint and remodel the kitchen, whatever. So you say, okay, it's not going to be within 5 days, sign this waiver. But we give it to you guys, but we don't give it to them. But isn't there some other version where it's like, and I don't quite understand how it works because it's not a huge deal. I just don't know exactly how that other version works. There's some other delayed method of marketing. I don't use it again because I don't think it's to my customer's advantage. But do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we went over it a while ago, but I don't remember it. I don't remember the details.
Okay.
But
I don't think it's probably worth using, but.
Well, that's the conclusion we all came to that day too, was that it was silly. It was not, but
Right.
I don't remember what it was called.
That's okay. No problem. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to do that.
It is some kind of delayed marketing, something I don't remember, but we went over it and it wasn't much different than what that was. And it didn't offer any real, that's why we haven't heard of it since then, probably. And I don't think people are using it. So any other questions? So the bottom line on that is we'll see what happens with those things. I don't understand how that's an advantage. I could save you a couple bucks in buyer's side commission, but it's going to take longer to sell and you're not going to get as much money, just less likely. Right. And as a listing agent, you're going to have to represent both sides, and you still have to be transaction broker. You still have to represent both sides honestly and fairly and everything else.
Yeah. And I agree with what whoever was saying that earlier was saying, because, they've acquired Follow Up Boss, they've acquired Showing Time. So I don't think they'll succeed, but it definitely, I don't see how this is good for consumers. Maybe they're trying to enrich themselves, with this Zillow partnership, but anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure they're trying to enrich themselves, but how does that work? So does that give them a competitive advantage to go into a listing appointment and I say, I'm going to put it on MLS, we're going to do, 3 and 3 and we're going to put it on MLS. And then you come in after me, Christina, and you say, we're going to just do 3% and maybe not have to pay the other 3% because we're going to keep it off the market for, 3 weeks or whatever that number is.
If that becomes a viable thing, I mean, I think what all of us will do is we'll just, we'll just set up searches on Zillow as well. And then won't we, yeah, we'll have to see how it shakes out,
It's
right?
not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt buyers agents really. I mean, it's just, I mean, it's going to cut a little bit, but it's, but if my client sees it on Zillow, they're already under a buyer brokerage agreement with me.
Right.
You know, they're going to forward it to you. You guys already have a bunch of clients sending you stuff when they see it on Zillow because it pops up, even though it's on their auto email. Maybe they don't look at it or whatever, but your auto email runs every morning at 8 a.m. and they see it, you know, at 7 o'clock at night. And so they're going to forward it to you. That happens already. Your clients already forward you stuff they see on Zillow. So
yeah, there's a whole controversy. I may not understand it correctly, but where these flex team agents through Zillow, they're now required to use pay for and use Follow Up Boss. And then, it was something to the effect of, let's say, John Smith is I went to high school with him. We've been friends for 20 years or whatever. And, he goes on Zillow and he searches up, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Dr. Phillips. And then he sends it to me. And then they're trying to claw back some referral fee for that because, their algorithm might notify them, hey, this, your contact was looking, or so that they could consider that some sort of a referral. So it's interesting. I don't see how this is. Yeah. I mean, I guess we have to see how it shakes out, right?
that's all we can do because we don't know where it's going to go. I'm not even sure what the plan is. I did get the email that everybody got because I got it at a couple of different ones forwarded to me. That Keller Williams, one of the brokers, sent out this morning about, oh, how great this is. And he was very non-specific. I don't think they know. Or at least the local people don't know what it's going to do for them. So they're just like, oh, it's a huge deal, but then no details whatsoever why it's a huge deal. So, all right, let's. I want to talk about this balanced market playbook. A couple things you can do differently. There's a little bit of scripting and stuff in here. A couple things you can do differently to guide your clients through. It is now more important, and we're going to get into it right here on the first slide. There we go. Why this matters, this is the most important thing, even though it's in small writing. The market is no longer rewarding only speed, it is rewarding judgment. These are stats from right now. These are from this year. NAR says existing home sales could rise 14% in 2026 as rates ease and inventory improves. Around 6%, mortgage rates are expected to hover near 6%, as we know. Right now, by the way, guys, everybody's getting in the fives. Not everybody. Most people are getting in the fives. Price growth is expected to be much calmer, which means pricing strategy matters more than momentum. That's been going on for a little bit. What that means for agents. Sellers need firmer pricing advice, not optimism without evidence, and they will do it too. We'll get into that in a second. Buyers need clearer affordability coaching, options, and lender collaboration. Longer days on market create room for concessions, repairs, and more negotiation. Consistent follow, that's the buyer side, that's more toward the buyer's market than the seller's market on that one. Consistent follow-up becomes a competitive advantage again. Yeah, you have to outwork people. So the best agents look more like market advisors than order takers. We sell, we advise. Guys, take your clients under your wing and treat them like valued customers that you are helping through a process, and not just ramming them through. That's important in this market. Okay, what changes in a balanced market? 4 habits become more valuable when buyers have more choices and sellers have more competition. Pricing. The old hot market, seller's market, was let's push and see. Now it's let's price for the data supports action. Guys, use these words. What I really like about this is the wording when you're talking with clients and dealing with clients. The old one was list quickly and rely on scarcity. Just put whatever price on there you want, whatever prep on there you want. Does the house have to be perfect? No, not then. It has to be a little better now. Everybody's going to want it to be nice now because they have choices. You remember kind of the stuff during the seller's market that people would buy. They would buy anything, right? Anything that they could get a contract on. And you would just get your You get your offer in as if you're the buyer side, get your offer in as fast as you could and hope for the best. But now they're launching with presentation, condition, and proof. Negotiation. Multiple offers do the work. Back in the seller's market now, credit repairs and structure matter again. Allowances and concessions, all that stuff matter again. Inbound demand covers weak systems in your follow-up. There's so much demand, it didn't matter if you didn't dot all your I's and cross your T's. Now you're having weekly updates and fast re-engagement that helps you win. So you train to the shift. Confidence now comes from evidence, process, and communication. That is how you're going to be successful in the market. And again, dealing with your client is the most important thing, and keeping them advised and walking them all the way through. So when you have sellers, you lead them with clarity, evidence, and a plan. Always have a plan. Try not to have questions that you can't answer when you go in and talk to them and they ask you, what do we do with this? What do we do with that? And in fact, come up with your own. If this doesn't work, then that. Teach them basics. Teach them if we're not getting showings, we're going to price it here. If we're not getting showings, then we're priced too high. If we're getting showings and it's not selling, then something about it was not prepped. Something about it is not right. It's not showing well. So those are things to talk about. Yeah, Christina.
Many years ago, I used to have some product, I think through what's now called Lone Wolf, where it was like I could get like a little market snapshot and I could enter in my client's data and just monthly, it would just send them an update on the neighborhood. And it wasn't like a wildly inaccurate update. I've heard of like HomeBot through some lenders, but I feel like that's not super accurate. I just was curious, does anybody use anything like that or have anything, to kind of give an independent update for like past clients that might be thinking of selling?
I don't know if anybody's using that. I haven't seen that, but that's something we can research. We'll find out, because that would be a good tool to
I
have.
think that was something in our MLS a long time ago or something. I do remember what she's talking about, and it would email your clients the home value or something like that.
It was good. And I know like certain lenders do the HomeBot where, they basically pay for it. They send it, you partner with that lender. But I found that those valuations tend to be a little off. Anyway, I mean, I'll research it. If anybody else, comes across anything, post it on the Facebook page. But I'm trying to find something like that again.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's something I feel like you could probably find. Tammy.
I'm getting ready to go show some houses, so I wanted to share this. This week, I happened to listen to a video on one of the things that we have included in our MLS called Race. I don't know if anybody's looked into that. And what it is you create a journey for your clients, and it tracks everything that you do, like every showing, every bit of time that you spend with that client. And I haven't totally gotten into it. There's a template so that at the end of your journey with that person, it shows how many hours you put into the deal, and it shows your value, because a lot of people think actually the other day I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I spent 5 hours like on the computer looking for houses. You don't even count those things until you become conscientious of how much time you're really spending. Like today I'm driving to Lady Lake to show 3 houses, and it will track your you can actually dictate into it as well. It will I think it tracks your mileage as well. But anyway, y'all might want to look into that, Race. And then the app, I think, is Ray. But they have some video tutorials, and it's part of our MLS. But it gives your client, it keeps them abreast of where you're at in the deal. And anyway, people might like it, people might not, but I'm trying it for now.
Awesome. That sounds good. I love those things that track your time and track you. They help you realize where you're spending your resources and as well. And that's something you can share or not share at the end of the journey, or does it automatically share it?
Yes, at when you close, it'll give you like a printout of all the stuff you've done, and it might be 25 pages if you've worked with this person for 3 years or something, and then it doesn't put their name on it, but you can use it when you talk to your next client, like, look what I did for my past client, or this is what I did for my last seller, and or you can give them that, and they can go into the portal. They don't really have an app. I think they have a portal. I'm just learning about it, so I don't really totally understand it. And they can see where they're at in the journey. So I believe it sounds like there might be a template that sets up, you know, like the journey, like your escrow, you know, we're at this part, and then they can go in and see where you're at in the journey, and it just shows them, you know, what you're doing for them. But again, I'm just now exploring it, so I don't know a ton about it.
Marjorie says in the chat that she's used it before and it's a great tool. Wonderful tool. Oh, it really tracks everything, she says. Cool. That is good stuff. Love tools. I love ways to prove your value to your clients. I love ways to prove your value to your next client, to ways to use these in presentations to get your next buyer and your next seller. Okay, anchor to the most relevant comparables, not the highest outlier. Obviously, you guys know that, but your client is going to push for that. They always do it. They know of some sale that happened down the street that was, you know, too high, and they want there to go, or it was too long ago. Show the price bands where buyers are actively shopping. Explain what the first 7 to 10 days should tell you about price fit. If you were doing some keeping it off market 7 to 10 days, keeping it in office 7 to 10 days, you wouldn't know that. Pre-frame price adjustments as a strategy, not a failure. That is a brilliant thing to do. I mean, you don't want to exude failure to your client. You don't want them to feel like start getting desperate, and you don't want them to feel like you've been a failure for them, or your marketing is a failure, or your marketing plan is a failure. If you work that in with, say, you know what, we'll price it a little more like what you would like to get, but just keep in mind this is the real price, and we're going to drop it to this in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, and whatever. And we're going to drop it X amount every week. Unless we're getting showings, you know, we can adjust that based on if we're getting lots of showings and our price is good. We might have to do something about the house. We might have to offer an incentive. Instead of dropping the price, we'll offer an incentive on the house. An allowance or a concession for new floors or whatever it is that's not showing well, right? You come in there and they got dirty carpet. They can't replace it. Maybe they can't afford to. Maybe they don't want to. Maybe you've advised them, you know, let's see how it goes first before we do the carpet. Because I hate to change flooring and the next buyer doesn't like the flooring, or, you know, whatever it is. So I'd rather give them a concession where they can get their floors changed, because that's something they can do quick and easily. All right. The seller script. Our goal is not to impress the market. Our goal is to position the home where buyers act. In this market, the best price homes create momentum. The overpriced homes create silence. The best listing agents explain what happens when a home misses the market in week 1. Week 1 is the biggest week, the most important week. The next one, there we go. All right. Ask better questions. Run buyer consultations around affordability. Did I miss a page? I think I might. Nope. Okay. Ask better questions. What monthly payment feels safe, not just possible? Because what happens a lot of times, as you guys know, with buyers, they see the actual maximum they can pay, and then they find a house that's $20,000 above that, and we can't get it down to the price that they want. And what you want them to do is you want them to feel comfortable. Where's the flexibility? So you don't have the money to buy exactly what you want, and exactly, you know, to buy the 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom in the fancy part of town, but maybe a 4-3 or a different part of town. So your type, condition, timeline, it might not be brand new. It might be an older house now, but it's big enough. It's still a 5-4 and it's in the right part of town. So there's different, everybody has their hot buttons. What can they give? What you're trying to find here is their cold button. What do they not care as much about if we're a little bit over our budget? You know, it says at the top here, a calmer market does not eliminate pressure. It changes what buyers need from you. It's always going to be pressure. They're always making a huge decision. Would credits, buy downs, or builder incentives change the picture? You know, maybe they were against new construction because it's so expensive, but then they see with credits and buy downs and builder incentives, they can buy that new construction. Because up top, when you said, look, guys, I know everything that you want here, but what can you sacrifice? And they say, well, It has to be in perfect condition. I'd love to have a new home. That's the most important thing. Well, there you go. All right, teach options. Recast the search around total cost, not sticker price alone. Work closely with lender partners before showings get deep. That should be right away before showings start at all. Keep 3 paths ready: ideal, practical, and compromise. Okay, buyer script. You may have more room to negotiate than buyers had a couple of years ago. That means our job is to match the right home with the right structure: price, credits, rate strategy, and timing. You're positioning yourself here when you're giving them all these things that matter. They don't think about that. They just think about price and the interest rate. And so you got to, bring into mind some of these other things that we can negotiate for you, like credits, like concessions, like other important things that they can get. Allowances for new appliances or whatever it is that we're doing. When buyers understand their options, confidence and conversion both improve. And what this is about is this whole thing is about conversion from a lead, conversion from a tire kicker into an actual buyer. And what runs them off, and we go back to ask better questions, that first one: what monthly payment feels safe, not just possible? You guys have had buyers before that seem like they're all on board, and they're just, they come to it and it's like, you know what, they may even give you some other excuse because they don't want to tell you financially they're not comfortable with it because that's embarrassing for them or whatever. And they'll say, you know what, this just doesn't seem like the house. This just doesn't seem like the time. We're going to put this off for a little bit. We got some other stuff we want. No, they got scared of the money. Usually they got scared of the money or something. And so you want them to feel completely, don't just be like, oh gosh, they're going to buy it. They're going to buy it. I think they like it. I think they're going to buy it. They're going to stretch and buy this. Make them feel comfortable, and don't just get excited because they're buying or they're telling you they're buying or they put it under contract. All right. Negotiate like a market advisor. Longer market times create more room to solve, not just to push. Price. Know where you can move on price and where a credit works better than a cut. Sometimes a credit for a buy down, a rate buy down, or something is exactly what they need. Separate, save, and they're talking also a credit works better than a cut for if they're short on cash. So maybe they can qualify for stuff, but they're short on cash. That's where you want a credit, obviously not a price cut. It doesn't do them as much good. Okay, repair. Separate safety issues from cosmetic. Safety issues from cosmetic asks and keep the deal focused. What is really, really important: don't lose them the deal because they ask for too much, and don't not ask for enough. So it's important to find that middle ground. A lot of that comes from communicating with the buyer. What can they really live with and not live with? Use seller credits strategically when buyers need payment relief more than sticker relief. That's talking about the actual monthly payment rather than the price of the home. So that's they're talking about seller credit strategically, just getting the monthly payment down by using a buy down or something like that. Timing, move dates, inspection windows, and contingencies when price alone will not unlock the deal. Move dates, inspection windows, and contingencies when price alone will not unlock the deal. You're just teaching them, and you teach your clients all these things, and things that they don't understand, and you're not only making them understand things, but you're also presenting yourself as the expert, as you should be. All right, launch listings like products. In a more balanced market, a sloppy launch is expensive. What is a great product launch? Anybody tell me what's the best product launch? Who does the best product launches in the world? Who thinks they know? Half of you probably have one sitting. Some of you are looking at it right now. And
Apple, Disney.
Apple is exactly what I was talking about. The lines for the new iPhones. Although Jordan shoes are pretty good too. But when you think of lines for product launches, you think of Apple. Thank you, Christina. So they do the best ones. And why? There's so much excitement. There's so much everything. Do you think they have a hard time selling them when they open? Of course not. Before the launch, condition, and they get you all excited, right? Before the Apple launch, what do? They get you all excited. You've seen all the, those of you who are weak-minded people who are iPhone people, just kidding. You're in your own club and I'm not in it and I'm mad. But iPhone people love it, and they watch all the reels that come out about the new iPhone, the new, all the TikToks about all the stuff the new phone will do, even if it doesn't do much new, whatever it is, it get you all excited about it by showing you before the launch, condition, photos, pricing, story, and showing readiness are locked before day one, and they'll get back into property, the condition of the property, the photos, the pricing story. You got all that worked out with the seller before you put it on the market. Week one, you track the traffic, of course, the calls, the feedbacks, the showings. Early silence is data, not a mystery. Early silence is no showings, right? They're sending it out to their client, and it either looks awful in pictures or the pricing is bad, and it's almost always the pricing. Week two, adjust the price. Adjust your price, presentation, or promotion quickly. Do not let a stale listing explain itself. Get ahead of the story, whatever it is, because what do people assume if things sit on the market? Not for 2 weeks, but you want to make sure that your price is right, your presentation is right, and you'll know what to do by how many showings you've had. If you've had 12 showings in the first week and no offers, or a couple of lowball offers, then it's not showing well. But you're priced right, but it's not showing well. And if it's not showing well, it doesn't really matter too much what the price is. The price is going to drop a lot. So you got to make the presentation better. And if you're getting no showings at all, you got to drop the price, because it's just going to sit there and get cold, and people are going to wonder what's wrong with it. And then you have to say, I priced it wrong. You're going to blame it on the seller, but you're ultimately responsible. You're the expert. What to standardize across the team? A pre-listing checklist with conditions, staging, and media standards. If you don't have a pre-listing checklist, get one, Google one, make sure you have one, print it out, take it with you. A weekly seller update template focused on activity and decisions. That's your weekly seller update that we talked about, focused on activity and decisions. Always let them know how much activity is going on and decide where to go next with the plan. But you've got a plan. And so your plan is your main guideline, and then any variation off that you discuss with the client and go from there. Because you will have some things, say, you know what, I think we're priced okay. I think it's showing okay. It just needs a little something, So let's instead of dropping the price, let's throw a concession for new flooring, or let's throw a concession for new appliances, or whatever. You know your weakest spot. You know what's driving people away from it. A simple rule in price improvement should be discussed. And you've already done that ahead of time. All right, 30-day action plan. Turn this playbook into daily habits over the next 30 days. Week one, practice pricing conversations and seller objections. These are all things to do for yourself. Refresh your buyer consultation and seller update process. Sharpen your concession, repair, and timing strategies. Honestly, I'm not real sure how to sharpen those. You got to it's a case-by-case basis. And you got to realize what you want to do. I've told you guys some of these things I've done before as a listing agent and as a buyer's agent, is when you do concession addendums, you go through the inspection period and you want repairs, or you want concessions for those repairs. I always like concessions better than repairs. I know you don't have a choice all the time with FHA and VA, but I always like concessions better than repairs, because I don't like, especially on the listing side, I don't like you telling me I've got to fix something to the buyer's satisfaction, or I've got to hire a licensed and insured professional for a handyman to switch out the hot water heater. I don't need that, right? A handyman can do that. So I don't like all this stuff. I'd rather give you a concession for the hot water heater than buy one and have it put in and have you come out and inspect it and make sure it's okay when you don't have any idea what you look at. I'd rather not deal with that. And you don't want that on the buyer's side either. I got to come out and look at, not you, but the buyer's got to come out and hire somebody, or come out himself and look at the hot water heater, how it was put in, and is it okay? That's ridiculous. And then the buyer's taking on that responsibility, like, okay, well, I've approved it. It's mine now. Just let the buyer hire their own professional and do it if they can. So I'd rather have concessions on that. But one of the things that I do, depending on buyer's market, seller's market, is sure. And how bad, if we got 3 offers on the first day and we took one of them, and then you come in with a bunch of repairs, I'll say, yeah, you know what, write what you want on an addendum and send a cancellation, and we'll sign one or the other. Because, put them on the spot, and then they're going to go to their buyer and say, we don't want to ask for too much, because we're also sending a cancellation. So just let them know that's how it goes. So you can do that, and you can do it on the buyer side too. If you think that you want this from the seller, or you'll walk, if your buyer tells you, if we don't get this, we're going to walk, then send the concession thing, or send the concession addendum and send the cancellation and tell them to sign one or the other. If the buyer's really willing to walk, that's perfectly fine. And it's tough negotiation, but you're letting people know what you want to get to that point where you're getting the absolute most for your buyer or the absolute most for your seller and not leaving stuff on the table, but also, you want the deal to work and you want everybody to be happy. And sometimes whether to handle things softly or a little more toughly. Toughly is a word I just made up. Audit active listings and fix weak launches quickly. Agents who explain price clearly, structure deals well, and communicate consistently can win in this market. That is the bottom line of this entire thing, is agents who can explain price clearly, structure deals well, and communicate consistently can win in this market. Will win in this market. And that's it. You guys have any questions or comments on that? What are you doing? So some of the important things are to get this listing checklist. When you're launching a listing, to do it properly, you guys have got to. It is more important than ever when you do this to launch it properly. And then, like Tammy was saying about, using things from previous clients to show other clients what your future clients what you're doing. I think it's important to show people how you've launched, how you've had success, how you sold this house, a mile away from theirs, and how you launched it. Have some of your materials of how you launched this house, and then your results, and say, look, we got 15 showings the first week. Maybe it's 15 showing requests, maybe 15 showings, but whatever it was. And we got 3 out of that. We got 3 or 4 offers, and we closed. We accepted an offer in 8 days, whatever it was. So just be prepared to have third-party stories sell really well. Third parties are just like you, right? They were Carolina. This is a lovely place you have here. I sold one a mile down the street, very similar to this one. And this is what, that's why you love reviews, right? Because this is what we did there, and this is how it worked out for them. And this is the review they wrote me at the end, right? And we sold, we went under contract in 8 days. We closed in 42 days, etc. Yes, Christina.
So I was going to say, I'm sure you can do it like in Google Docs or even like some sort of a spreadsheet. I have an app that I use called Asana. It's like ASANA. So, you can kind of set up templates and workflows for anything. I think you can connect it to I think I have it connected to Zapier and things like that. But if you want to have your checklist in one place in case you want to bring on someone else, that's kind of something cool. And just to keep it centralized and organized. Another thing that I wanted to say is I had some success with one of my listings last month where we had it listed for a long time, for a whole 6 months. But our main issue was we had tenants in there that were just started out cooperative and then, as you can expect, became uncooperative with showings. We pulled it off the market. We relisted it lower. It was a property with solar panels. So we relisted it lower, but we ended up selling it for almost exactly $5,000 below what we couldn't even get showings on before. So that was something that I tried that was successful, just to kind of throw that out there for folks.
Awesome. Thank you, Christina. Yes, I appreciate that. Jeanette's putting together a listing checklist. I'll take a look at it. We'll get it up there. Daryl bought the iPhone 17E. Is that 17E? And it is awesome. Awesome. All right. I'm out of the iPhone loop. What else? I'm not as cool as you iPhone people. I'm one of those old Android people.
We can all pitch in some money to get you one if you want.
Yeah, I can't afford it. That is exactly what it is.
It's just your birthday. It'll be like a late birthday present for you.
I will tell you this. I went the last 3 years ago. I got a phone. In fact, I might need another one because I just broke my screen. But 3 years ago, I got a phone, and I went into the T-Mobile place, and I said, I'm going to switch to iPhone. I've been Android this whole time and switched to iPhone. And it's the one right there by the office by UCF. And there's a college kid probably working there, and he was 22 years old or something. And he said, you don't want to do that. And I said, what do you mean I don't want to do that? He goes, it's nobody's ever happy when they switch from Android to iPhone and they come back and blah, blah, blah. And I said, am I too old? He goes, no, it's not about being old. He says, just a whole different system, whatever. I was like, it's about me being old, whatever. So, so I bought it.
They have such good deals though right now. It's my new 17E is $5 a month. I had the 11 Pro, which was 7 years old. This new one, the battery lasts 2.5 days. It's the chip is 3 times faster. It was a no-brainer for me.
That's impressive. Yeah, I got to get a new phone. I might do it today. I got to get one this week. My screen is looking like a spider web. All right. Any other questions before we go? We're going to have that listing checklist on there. You might want to do your own listing checklist. You can do it and convert it to a Word and whatever. You can get it off of, I mean, AI will write you one. You can do whatever you want. You can throw our logo on there. You guys all have our logo from when you joined. If not, we can get you one. And do whatever you want. All right. Any other questions or comments?
I was curious. I think I'm gonna. I think I lost you. You guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, we can hear you.
Okay.
We're on the edge of our chairs. Look at her.
Well, I don't have anything that's going to live up to that, but I just was curious what people are doing for seller updates. I've seen a lot of people have templates. I am giving people like detailed good updates every week that are like very personalized, but it's taking me a long time to do it. So I just was curious if anybody on the call was utilizing some sort of, plug and play template that was, potentially some time.
Anyone have a plug and play thing that they're doing? No, and Christina, I'm not out there, like you guys are. Let me buy or sell your house and all that stuff. But I do have a couple sellers here and there, and I just send them emails. But I don't have as many as you guys have. I don't, So that's up to
I don't know if people are utilizing any of the reports in Showing Time, because we get it through MLS, but they have like a benchmark pricing report that's pretty good. I haven't dealt with RPR stuff in a while, but I want to look into that a little bit more. But you can get some good, detail if you're trying to get somebody to, be a little bit more realistic with pricing. It can show you it'll just print out everything. It shows you like the absorption rate, how long it'll take to sell in that market, how you are priced comparative to, and you could set the parameters for like square footage, bedroom, bathroom, etc. What type of property, and then you can just say, hey, your neighbor just sold, everybody's selling at this price. It's just, if nobody's using that, it's a good one.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about technology and stuff. But, I talk about all this kind of stuff, and I tell you this is good and that is good to use. And I mean, it's good. When I say it's good to use, it's not from me using it. A lot of times it's from it just being a good product or whatever. I like you guys, you get excited about every bit of technology and every new report and everything that you might use and you think you might. And I tell people this when they sit through CRM demos and stuff like that, when they ask me about new, what CRM should I be using? I tell them take a day and sit through, 3 or 4 or 5 CRM demos, and they'll give you 30-minute demos. You go on their website and you say, I want a demo. They'll schedule you a demo and just take a day and do that, or 2 mornings and do that. And they'll all be similar, but they'll all have different features. And you pick the one and they'll say, which one's best? Whichever one you're going to use, the one that has the features that you're going to use. Because like Showing Time reports and stuff like that, you know what I do for Showing Time? They send you an email when somebody pulls your showing instructions. I use those showing instructions I use those emails as who's pulling showing instructions. We had 8 people this week, or we had whatever it was, pull showing instructions. And then your ELB will tell you how many people actually went there and opened the box. And so you can get those kind of things. I think it's, but you can also get the fancier reports straight from there. And so I don't bother with that because I don't really I'm used to using the other thing. What I'm saying is there's all kinds of technology out there. Some of it you use and some of you don't. And what I don't want you to do is get paralyzed by so many options that you don't do any of it. So pick the things that you'll use and use them. And like the same thing I tell you guys for everything. Doesn't matter what I tell you, doesn't matter what I learn from other people. If I don't use them, then they're no good. You actually have to do it, whatever you're going to do. And so I love hearing about all these other things and you guys using them and stuff like that. And I would love to see what you find for a more automated, but because I think it would be better and not just necessarily less work, Christina, I love the idea of the more automated, and I know they have it, listing reports, for your sellers, listing updates. Yeah, Christina, you have another question? Or comment?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to drag out the meeting. I was curious, and like I said, I came in about 5 minutes late, so if I missed this, I apologize. I was curious what everybody's thoughts were on, like, the spring and summer market. I feel like we were starting to get into a good groove, and then this whole conflict with Iran started. I feel like the market's got a little bit more nervous, but I'm still seeing, my mom was in real estate locally for like 40 some years and through some other conflicts, and she was like, well, the market should still continue. She didn't really see some huge falling off a cliff during past conflicts, so I thought that was pretty interesting. I just was curious what people think. I'm hearing a lot of people still feeling like we're going to have a strong spring summer season, and I think good chance for that. But I just was curious, what your thoughts are on what we should expect for the next 6 months.
If anybody else has any thoughts, that's fine, and you're welcome to do it. But I see the only thing that you missed. I went over the article saying that sales are up 4% year over year, and condo or single family, and condos are up 9% year over year. So things are picking up. Everybody's seeing more mortgage applications and stuff like that. And yeah, it has slowed down the last couple of weeks. Everybody's been a little bit scared of that. So, and rates have crept back up, but they're still in the fives. Everything I talked to Tom, everything that people are doing are still in the fives. So there's no reason for it not to be. And it seems like people are busier. I think Tammy just said she has 3 showings she's going to. So that's all good stuff. Things are moving. I'm expecting a little uptick, but that's me. I don't know. And you guys, I asked earlier if anybody was seeing anything. Nobody really shared much. What are you guys seeing out there? Anybody seeing anything? No.
I mean, I think it's something that was on the market for almost 6 months under contract last week, and cash buyer, they're going to close. I still think it's like, death, divorce, baby, relocation. Like, these things are still going to happen. I still see a lot of sales around me. I drive through my neighborhood, and sad that they're not my listings, but encouraged that there are more properties that appear to be going pending. So I think a lot of those life events are going to continue. I think some people are scared off. What I see the hardest hit is, and I'm getting a lot of leads lately that are just kind of like credit check. They want to, but maybe I had one guy that he bought a car through CarMax, by the way, and it was a limit. And I don't know how, I got to try to talk to him a little bit about it. Anyways, it was a limit, and somehow they charged it off. So he has like this charge off on his credit, which just like totally sank, his purchasing opportunities, credits in the fives. So I've gotten some people that are like willing but not able. But I see activity around me. At least that's how it is for me. It'll be kind of like, my sphere remains consistent. So if people are not doing that, call them, I've taken somebody out to lunch, dinner, breakfast, coffee once a week, for the past couple of months. So that's something I like to do. And then somebody called me with a house that I sold them maybe in 2016. And, we're going to be selling that in the summer. So that stays consistent. And then the other stuff, online stuff, comes in waves for me. So I might be slow for a couple of months, and then I'll get a bunch of people all at once. So it's pretty much like that. A little bit more activity overall past month.
Okay, good. Yeah, we're still having the life event stuff, and we were starting to see some of the moving around town that people do so much of, upsizing, downsizing, etc. But yeah, it seems like we're still kind of stuck in that people retiring and moving down here. Life event stuff is still happening, like you said, divorce and death and everything else that makes people move, job opportunities, etc. But we're not seeing as much of, look, I'm not moving across town when I'm in a 3% to a 6%. It's just not. That's a choice to move across town. But if I have to move, obviously I'm going to move. So that's the difference, and that's kind of what you're saying. You're seeing. But if your sphere is out there, I think that's great. I also think you should be looking for buyers from out of town. I think that's where a lot of it is. Christina.
Also, I was curious. I know I asked you about this. I wanted to see if anybody else knew. I have somebody from my sphere that's looking for a past client that's looking to help her parents. She's in DeLand and her parents are like in Kissimmee, so she wants to help them sell their place and then relocate over here. And she was looking to maybe purchase some land and have them try to build with the money they get from their proceeds, or if there was anybody that did manufactured homes. So I need to do a little deep dive on that. But if anybody has any contacts for like new home builders or manufactured builders that would manufactured home builders that would build to suit on their lot, that's a need that I have right now.
Okay, excellent. Maybe throw that in the Facebook. I don't know. All right, guys. Let me know if you have any other questions. I will have something awesome for you next week. Thank you all for coming. Jolanda.
Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning.
I have a listing in Lake County, in DeLand, but it's in Lake County. It's a side by side, 2.5 acres, and nobody has called.
Okay.
And I called my client the other day, and I asked her to let her know that nobody has called me to see their property. And she told me that close to her, there is this investor that purchased 6 lots, and he, of 1 acre each lot, and he put a side by side there for $160,000. What should I do?
He put what there? Side by side what?
Homes in there. Side by side homes in each lot, one in each lot.
Oh, okay. Okay. And he put them for $160,000?
160, 169, something like that.
And what are you trying to sell for?
361.
And you have just one home on 2.5 acres?
Yes. And the acre is clear, pretty much clear.
Mm-hmm. And you say it's 2 lots? Is it 2 lots put together?
My lot? No, it's 2.5 acres.
It's just 1 lot, 2.5 acres, not split. Okay. And so what are you asking? What you can do?
Uh-huh.
Well, I don't really think those are competition for you because you got 2.5 acres. I mean, it's not direct competition. It sounds like that might hurt your pricing though. Is your home bigger than those other homes?
No, they are about the same. And this one is a 2022 home.
Mm-hmm.
So which is new.
Yeah, that's nice. I don't, it might hurt your value a little bit, but I don't know. I don't think that's the same buyer,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It might hurt your value a little bit.
Okay.
But you'll see. I don't know. Maybe try. I mean, yeah, probably a price adjustment would be valuable for you. At least see what it does.
Okay.
All right. So part of what we talked about today was pricing it right and talking to your sellers about pricing it a little bit lower up front and creating some frenzy about it. Creating some excitement about it rather than pricing it at what they hope to get. Get something a little bit lower and get some excitement about it. Attract some people.
Okay.
So, all right, guys. Jolanda, you can talk to me about that separately if you want. Vivian, I see you flashing a bunch of Argentinian money. What are you doing?
I am. I was counting all my loose change. Anybody in the Tampa area?
We have people in Tampa area. I don't know if they're on this call right now. We're down to 24 people.
Oh, okay. Because I wanted some feedback on Davis Island.
Oh, okay. I don't have anything for you.
Okay.
Oh, it's nice over there. I used to live over there, but I haven't sold over there. I was curious, has anybody worked with Stanley Homes? And do you know anything about them? A new
I've
home
never-
builder?
Never heard of them.
I've got the weather report for Fort Lauderdale today if anybody wants it. I just have to look
Kim-
out the window. It's
Kim has
raining.
worked with it. Christina, you can talk to Kim. Kim Laney's on here. She's heard of them.
I worked Stanley Martin Homes in Lake County. I worked with
Yeah.
them. They were great.
Oh,
to work
great.
with. They were
Oh, good. Okay.
they offered a co-broke. They were I loved working with them actually. Far better than a few other builders.
Excellent. Thank you, Kim, for that. Okay, guys. That is all we have for today. I will see you next week. We'll have some awesome things for you. I don't know what it is yet, but we'll have something awesome. All right. Talk to you guys next week. See you then.